Okay, so we've got a question here that involves spinners and it's saying find the probability. So again, we're looking at probability, which means that we need to have the number of successes divided by the total number of outcomes. That's the definition of probability. So probability equals the number of successes, the number of things you get that you actually wanted, divided by the total number of outcomes, and we tend to write it as a fraction. So let's have a look what to talk about. We've got a blue spinner and a red spinner, and it's spun once, so each spinner spun once, and we're looking for the total score. So my recommendation is when you get a question that looks similar to this, and you've got two things happening, then write out a two-way table to see all the possible outcomes. So for this then, we know we've got a blue spinner and we've got a red spinner, and on the blue spinner we've got the possibility of 2, 4, 6 and 8, and on the red spinner we've got a possibility of 2, 4, 6 and 8. It says that the total score is the score in the blue plus the total score in the red, so basically we've got to add these numbers together. So 4, 6, 8, 10, 6, 8, 10, 12, 8, 10, 12, 14, 10, 12, 14 and 16. So we can see straight away from this question then that by looking at the outcomes possible, we can start thinking about what the question actually wanted, and it wanted a total score of 10. So when we look through the outcome table, we can see that there's 4 of those, and there were 16 possible outcomes altogether. So from the definition of probability, then the number of successes was 4, we've got 4 10s, and the total number of outcomes was 16. So the probability of getting a 10 was 4 out of 16. So these kind of problems with two things happening, like spinners or dice and that kind of stuff, coins, then drawing out a two-way table with all the possible outcomes makes it clear what the number at the bottom of the fraction has to be as the total number of outcomes, and then you can check the table then to see how many successes you get. So that's how you could have answered that part of the question. Well, this question develops into the game. So it's basically suggesting that Ali and Shazia play this game, and in each round of the game, both spinners are spun once again, and Ali wins. So it's all about Ali. So Ali wins if the blue spinner score is greater than the red spinner score, and they're going to play it 80 times, and they want an estimate of how many times Ali will win. So basically we need to know the probability of Ali winning. So to me, you go back to your two-way table that you drew in the first part, and you're kind of looking at what the conditions are. Well, they said that Ali wins when the blue spinner score is greater than the red spinner score. So the blue spinner score has to be greater than the red spinner score. So not going to happen on that row. The blue spinner score 4 greater than 2, so that's a win. No more. Going down to 6, the blue spinner score is 6, well that's greater than 2. Blue spinner score is 6, well that's greater than 4. No more. Goes down the 8 one. The 8 spinner score is greater than 2. The 8 spinner score is greater than 4. The 8 spinner score is greater than 6. So we can see then that there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways that Ali could win by having the blue score greater than the red score. So we know then the probability of Ali winning is 6 out of 16, because again there's still the same 16 possible outcomes, there's just 6 of them where Ali can actually win by having the blue score bigger than the red score. So the probability of winning is 6 out of 16. What that means is that out of every 16 games, 6 times you'd expect Ali to win. That's if the probability follows theory. We're playing it 80 times though, so 6/16ths of those 80, so 6/16ths of 80 games, Ali should win according to the probabilities. Well, we're basically saying that we want to do 6/16ths times 80. Lots of ways of doing these kind of fraction numbers of questions, or fractions of numbers type questions. Quickest way is usually to divide the number there by the denominator. So 80 divided by 16 is 5, and then we want 6 of those. So this is what 1/16th is worth. 1/16th is 80 divided by 16, and then we want 6 of them. So 6/16ths will equal 6 times 5, so 30 wins. that's one way of doing those. I'd recommend that you kind of look at what happens with these situations. When I'm timesing by fractions, and that's like times by 80 over 1, well, that's basically saying I've got 6 times 80 over 16 times 1. Well, 80 divided by 16, both divide by 16 to be 5. 16 divided by 16 is 1. And 6 times 5 is 30. And 1 times 1 is 1. So either way, you're going to get 30 wins. Different ways of doing fraction sums. So work out the probability of value winning, and then it's that fraction of the number of games played to estimate the number of times it'll win. And the two-way table helps.